Welcome to the Pepsi Center. I am Matt Smith for Mile High Sports. Thank you very much for tuning in. Well, tonight the Nuggets snapped their season-long three-game losing streak with an 87-78 win over the Grizzlies. The Nuggets improved to 22-20 overall this season, and Memphis falls to 13-28 overall. And whenever you see Memphis on the calendar, you don't prepare yourself for an exciting barn-burner game. No thrillers against the Grizzlies. Tonight, the Nuggets hold a professional basketball team to under 80 points and improve their record when scoring under 100 themselves to 5-7, and when holding opponents under 100 to 12-2. By the way, for context, last season, the amount of wins the Nuggets had when scoring under 100 points, just one. They already have 5 this season, and they get another one tonight. The theme of the evening is a win, because obviously coming off that losing streak, you had to find a way to win a basketball game, even if it wasn't in the prettiest of ways. But after this game, head coach Michael Malone and pretty much the team in general, I would say there's a sense of relief, but Malone was happy, and I think that part of that is the Nuggets beat the Grizzlies tonight without Gary Harris, who is by far their most consistent player. And when you look at what else the Nuggets did tonight, they defended at a high level, and they also rebounded the basketball, which were the biggest reasons that they win this game. Now, in the first quarter, the Nuggets allowed Memphis 50% from the field, 57% from the three-point line. And they gave up a stretch in that first quarter, 15-0 run. It was 8-8. Then you looked up at the scoreboard, and it was 23-8. Really bad start for Denver in this basketball game. But again, as we continue to look for signs of growth, it is winning basketball games in different ways, and tonight the Nuggets got big contributions from their bench, and they, like I said, defended and they rebounded at a high level. The next 3 quarters, the Nuggets would out-rebound the Grizzlies after being out-rebounded by just 1 in the first quarter. They would also do an outstanding job on the defensive end. In the next 3 quarters, obviously Denver outscores Memphis in each one of them, the second, third, and fourth, but they also hold the Grizzlies to just 35% overall in those 3 quarters and just 17% from the three-point line. Overall, Memphis shoots 39% from the field, 29% from downtown, and you have to like the way that the Nuggets team that was made up tonight of a big part of it was their role and reserve players coming off the bench and making an impact in this game and ultimately getting Denver a win. Richard Jefferson, Malik Beasley. I think Jefferson tonight had 18 minutes, Beasley with 24 as they continue to try and work Malik into that rotation on a night-to-night basis, and Kenneth Faried with 14 minutes. After the game, Nikola Jokic saying that he felt that those guys really kind of helped turn this performance around and gave the Nuggets some energy. I think that on the whole, this team was just very happy with getting a win, because there wasn't much that impressed me that happened out here on the floor tonight, other than the fact that they beat a team that they were supposed to beat after losing to a team that they should have beaten in Atlanta just a few days ago. Either way, a win is a win, and you did it in a different way than you normally win games, which was defend at a high level and rebound. And like I said, Nuggets having 5 wins this season when scoring 100 or less themselves is a huge step in the right direction, because that means that you're giving that consistent energy and effort on defense more often than not, and I think it's pretty clear to anyone who watches the Nuggets that they are a completely different team when they play aggressive defense and when they exude that energy that we've come to know from the successful Nuggets. The unsuccessful Nuggets, I just don't think compete all that hard on the defensive end, and tonight Michael Malone was able to get some of that production, leaning on guys like Richard Jefferson, leaning on guys like Beasley and Faried to bring that energy back into the lineup. Leading scorer tonight for the Nuggets, Will Barton, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, but he also had 5 turnovers. Now, it brings up a point that I really wanted to get to here. Will Barton has had to do a lot of has been the primary ball handler and has had a lot more primary ball handling responsibilities this season. I think now, as we're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline, you have to probably look at getting a backup point guard in here, because if you're not going to play Emmanuel Mudiay, God forbid anything happens to Jamal Murray, but more than that, your second unit needs some direction, and you need more of that punch from your guard play in that second unit. And I think by moving Will Barton back to the 2, for the most part, will get that done. Of course, he started tonight with Gary Harris out, and listen, leads the way in scoring for the Nuggets. Nuggets get the win, but a lot left to be desired, in my opinion. Trey Lyles, 19 of his last 22 games, he has scored in double figures. Tonight, he was big as well, shot 7 of 13, finishes with 16 points, 8 rebounds. Nikola Jokic, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He didn't score very much at all through the first 3 quarters, but he always seems to backdoor a 13, 14, 15-point performance, doesn't he? Jamal Murray, I thought, in my opinion, was the most disappointing Nugget on the floor tonight. He had 11 points on 1 of 7 shooting. He was 9 of 10 from the free throw line, but we've been continuing to talk now about Jamal Murray being one of those guys that you can rely on a nightly basis. He wasn't that guy tonight, and listen, those games are going to happen. This team is still very young. There's no denying that. But you have to find a way to get rid of those games where you can't contribute, and if you don't, you have to find a way to do it in other facets. And I think tonight, listen, he plays 32 minutes, but I didn't like his floor game whatsoever. I think he's a guy that when a Gary Harris goes out, when one of these 3 essential core pieces for the Nuggets can't play, he's got to be one of those guys that steps up, especially on the scoring end, and delivers some punch here. There were 4 in double figures, like I just said: Barton, Lyles, Jokic, and Murray. The Nuggets are 6th in the Western Conference right now. Not a ton to get to in this game. Like I said, bit of a snooze fest, not much entertaining here on a Friday night from the Pepsi Center, other than the fact that the Nuggets get the win, which they really did need. They have 2 out of their next 3 on the road. This tomorrow is the second back-to-back of 2018. Now, we alluded to this, I think, a few weeks ago. The Nuggets have 4 back-to-backs in the month of January. Each one of them are home and road. So tonight, the Nuggets fly out to San Antonio and will take on the Spurs tomorrow night. From Texas, I think tip-off's at 6:30. After that, they come back here for Dallas on Tuesday, and then they go their 3rd back-to-back of January on Wednesday to the Clippers. And then they have a 5-game homestand. Reason I kind of take a longer look ahead at the schedule is because the Nuggets have to find a way to win one of these games on the road. They do. One of these 2 games out of their next 3, either the Clippers or the Spurs, you got to find a way to come up with a big morale-boosting win. Obviously, we're not sure if Gary Harris is going to be able to play in that game on tomorrow night, rather, against the Spurs. He had to miss tonight's game for personal reasons. They're not sure yet if he'll be able to go tomorrow night and what the situation is there. So best thoughts out to Gary, obviously. But, you know, without him in the lineup, the Nuggets have to find a way to get some scoring punch from anybody in the backcourt, because against the Spurs, you're going to need it. They're also going to need the defense that they played in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter tonight. Head coach Michael Malone was very happy about that after the game, and we'll see if Denver can't go on the road and give a San Antonio team all they can handle. I mean, it would be certainly a huge win for Denver. They've got to find a way to strap it on the second night of back-to-backs, because obviously now with, you know, having had lost your last 3 in a row, 2018 was off to a decent start, but has kind of hit a backslide here, and the Nuggets have regressed just a little bit. They maintain that 6th spot in the West, but anybody who watched this game tonight, and anybody who covers the team, if they tell you they were impressed with what they saw on the floor tonight, outside of the fact that they were able to win a game holding an opponent under 80 points and defending at a high level for 3 quarters, they'd be lying to you. This team is not what it looked like a few weeks ago, and they have to figure things out quickly, because this is the fat on their schedule, this part of the calendar. Things ratchet up here in March. The Nuggets have to find a way to take care of the games that they need to. They did get the win tonight, certainly something to be encouraged there, but looking forward, this team has got to step it up and find a way to play the basketball that they did just a few weeks ago. They'll get another chance to do that tomorrow night in San Antonio. I am Matt Smith for Mile High Sports. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, follow me on Twitter at @RealMattSmith, that's Matt with 1 T, and at Mile High Sports for all your exclusive Nuggets coverage. And until next week, thank you for tuning in.